So the reason you need to be worried about being anonymous online is just the amount of data that's getting collected about you all the time. Everywhere you go, every website you look at is gathering huge amounts of personal information. These people are building more detailed dossiers about you than you would share with probably even your closest friends. And they're using it for any purpose they want. You really have no control over it. But in your professional life, in the government, it gets even worse. Now the dossiers are being built by your enemies, and they can use them in all sorts of nefarious ways. Because absolutely everything you do online is being tracked, it's really difficult to maintain any sense of privacy or anonymity when you're on the internet. My recommendation to most people is that most of your activities are going to be completely public, and you sort of need to live that part of your life as though it were an open book that your parents were going to be reading when you weren't looking. But for those things that you do want to protect, you need to take special precautions. You want to make sure that when you're doing research on medical conditions or expressing political opinions that could get you fired, you need to make sure that you're using different social media, different accounts, logging in from different IP addresses, clearing out any trackers that might be on your computer to make sure that those activities are robustly separated from your day-to-day activities. It's very difficult to hide your identity online just by yourself. Your computer's designed to give away enormous amounts of information about you. It's designed to track you. It's designed to let websites find out about you. So you need to use tools to protect yourself. They can automate that process of scrubbing all the trackers. And more importantly, they can hide your computer's internet address, which is like the address on your house. If you're not hiding that, you're not hiding anything. But you need to be consistent about using it. Anytime you accidentally forget to turn it on, that will expose that other identity that you're managing, and all the rest of your work is for nothing. And we've seen that in a lot of different cases. We saw that happen with the recent Russian hackers of the DNC. We've seen that with famous cyber criminals that were running massive underground empires. All of them have been tripped up in one way or another by just forgetting to turn on the tool before they go out on the internet. This process of separating your normal identity from an alias or when you're trying to engage anonymously is really tricky because you often have so many different accounts. You've got email addresses that you use to set up different social media. They may be looking to confirm your identity by sending a text message to your cell phone. But if any of those elements ever overlaps, even often just account names, if not real accounts, it can allow someone else to tie those identities together and break your entire anonymity. For example, in the DNC hackers again, they paid for several of the things they use, several websites that were supposed to be separate from the same account. And that immediately allowed the FBI to tie these identities together. It's important also to keep track of what information are you providing and what activities you're engaging in with which accounts. So once you start managing multiple identities and multiple accounts, your true name and at least your alias or your undercover anonymous name, it suddenly gets complicated to remember which one did you use for which thing. And I've seen many whole operations blown up because someone used the wrong alias. They had, say, several different aliases they were using to communicate with a drug dealer, and it was alias A who'd been carrying on the conversation. They accidentally send an email from alias B, and suddenly everyone's attention is raised and things start to fall apart.